Thank you, Dan, and congratulations for your new position. Wonderful to have you there. Good morning. I would like to say a few words about what's at stake with this initiative of the Palestinians to go to the United Nations. Actually, what we see are two paradigms battling against each other. That concerns the kind of relations Israelis and Palestinians are going to have, and the question of the security of the State of Israel in the coming years. One paradigm, and coming back, Khaled mentioned what Tony Blair said here, I would say that one of the things he said was really extremely problematic. When he said, no, we shouldn't really care about language. This is all about language. It is all about language. One paradigm says we have a two-state solution coming. It's well known how it's going to look like. The problem is territorial, mainly territorial. It's written on the wall. We just have to know how to walk from here to the wall and implement the paradigm, and all the solutions are there. And the other paradigm says, no, it's not about two-state solution. It's about two states to two peoples solution. And this is exactly the language. If you say two-state solution, yes, it's easy. But we know exactly why some people say two states and do not say two states for two peoples. This is the core of the problem. Those people who say two states and tend to forget the two peoples believe that it's easy to get the solution. But we, as the government of Israel, we have something very important to take care of. And this is the security of the State of Israel and its existence forever, not for tomorrow. Two states, very easy for a solution for tomorrow. Two states for two peoples, namely recognition of the Palestinians that Israel has the right to exist as a nation state of the Jewish people. This is a genuine peace. And the two paradigms is one talking about a peace for the coming few years, and the other speaking about a genuine, lasting peace. That's what's at stake. And why do the Palestinians want to go to the United Nations? Simply because they understand that if they go to the negotiation table, they are going to be asked three questions. First, do you recognize Israel as a nation state of the Jewish people? The answer, given bluntly by Abu Mazen and by every Palestinian spokesperson, is no, never. And they also explain why, so that we shall know that it is important to demand them to give an answer to this question. They say three reasons. One, if we do so, we give up the right of return. So they really still believe in the right of return. Second, if we give it up, if we accept Israel as nation state of the Jewish people, we may cause damage to the Arab population of Israel. Which means that in their mind, this Arab population is the basis for further demands in the future. And you can see, for example, just recently, a meeting between 48 Arabs, as they call them, poets, was the Minister of Culture of the Palestinian Authority, speaking very clearly about the role of these people in the future. So we have, in the minds of the Palestinians, I'm not sure that all Arab Palestinians, Arab Israelis see it this way, but this is the role given to these people in the minds of the Arab Palestinian leadership. And thirdly, if we do so, we accept the need to change our narrative. Our narrative, everything that we tell our children about, is that there's Zionist gangs came to this land, together sent by the colonialists in Europe, in order to steal our land. That's our narrative. They don't have any connection to this land. They were never a Jewish people. There isn't a Jewish people. Judaism is a religion. And why should a religion have a state? So they should go back to where they came from. It was mentioned here that Hamas doesn't recognize Israel. Let me tell you something. Fatah doesn't recognize Israel. In August 2009, there was a convention of Fatah in which they reaffirmed the need to destroy Israel and to do it through the armed struggle. That's 2009. Fatah doesn't recognize Israel. The PLO recognizes Israel. But also only as a non-national state without a national identity. And the most they can say, 2 states for 2 peoples, you ask them, what do you mean by 2 peoples? They say, the Palestinian people and the Israeli people. As if Israel is the state of all its citizens. They refuse to accept the fact that Israel has a right to exist as a nation state of the Jewish people. That's why the issue of recognition is the core of our security. There can be no security unless the Palestinians recognize Israel as the nation state of the Jewish people. Because this means that we should make a deal in which the other side will continue to work day in, day out in order to destroy us as the nation state of the Jewish people. The second question is going to be asked, and he doesn't want to answer, is whether you accept that any agreement reached would be the end of the conflict and the finality of all claims. What Abu Mazen says about this is, I'm ready to see any agreement as the end of the conflict, but it's not going to be the finality of all claims, it will be the finality of the historical claims. You ask him, what do you mean by historical claims? What is the difference between historical claims and all claims? I'll tell you 2 things. First of all, I'm not responsible. I cannot be responsible for the claims of the refugees. Because these are personal claims. These are not national claims. So I cannot, if a certain refugee wants to go back to his home in Haifa, I cannot say anything about it. And secondly, why do I insist on historical claims? Because your claims to Nablus, to Hebron, to all these places are based on history. So I want the end of all historical claims so that you should not be able to ask to come back to Hebron or to Joseph's tomb in Nablus. That's why it should be the end of all historical claims. So we say, well, here's another problem. This will never end. And the third question is going to be asked is, are you ready to address Israel's security needs? We have a real security concern. Our history tells us that to every place we left, this was a launchpad for terrorism of all kinds. Rockets, suicide bombers, whatever. Are you ready to accept this? He says, no. I'm ready to do so, but in my way. You put your security in my hands and maybe in the hands of international teams like the NATO organization also. We have our experience with all those international security organizations. They would not really sacrifice their life for our security. And the entire idea of Israel is to put the security of the Jews in the hands of the Jews. That's why Israel was established. We know what happened when the security of the Jews was put in the hands of others. So, on these 3 questions that Abu Mazen doesn't want to answer, he prefers to take a different avenue. And I say that because of that, the unilateral direction is totally unacceptable. Totally unacceptable, and clearly a solution should be reached through negotiations in which the Palestinians will give us answers to those 3 questions. Now, the Palestinians have this very impressive way of saying yes. They say yes to everything. In principle, they say yes to everything. Which means we take of any proposal that is given to us, we take those words that we like and we ignore the rest. For example, the entire UN initiative is based on what President Obama said in the General Assembly last year in September, where he said that he hopes that by the next year we shall reach an agreement according to which it will be possible for the United Nations to adopt a new member, which is the Palestinian state. The Palestinians, of course, ignored the two first words, say we reach an agreement, and they want to go to the United Nations without an agreement. Of course, just the opposite of what President Obama was talking about. This, of course, is not going to work. And what we are worried about is that if they insist on going in this direction, and this is also the way they react to the last speech by President Obama, although we have some disagreements with what President Obama said, but what President Obama has put on the table first and foremost is that the purpose of the peace process is to reach a two-state solution. A Palestinian state, which is the homeland of the Palestinian people, and a Jewish state, which is the homeland of the Jewish people. This, of course, the Palestinians ignore, and they only stick to the line saying 67 lines should be the base of negotiations with agreed swaps. This entire approach is, of course, problematic, and we say we want to reach peace. We want real peace, lasting peace, a peace that takes care of the security of Israel. We want to reach a solution in which we do not govern and we do not rule the Palestinians. But such an agreement can be reached only through negotiations that will deal with those issues, and there's no way to avoid it. And unlike the Palestinians, we say what we mean. We don't play games, even though what Prime Minister Blair suggested to us to be more flexible and play games. That's not our habit, because we just say what we mean. We want to have peace, but it has to be an agreed peace that will take care of the security of the State of Israel. Thank you very much.